Welcome, parents, to the 2016-2017 OHSAA Parent Meeting. This is a requirement of the Ohio High School Athletic Association. In order to make it convenient for parents, we've put this meeting online instead of having a date and time where parents are required to attend at Pickerington North. Information contained in this presentation will assist parents in understanding the expectations of Pickerington North athletes and parents. Here are some people you should know in Pickerington North. Our principal, Mr. Yulbrick. Athletic director, Miss Fiesler. That's me. I'm your narrator today. Assistant athletic director, Jeff Good. Administrative assistant, Jackie Earhart. And head athletic trainer, John Freeman. Our sport offerings for the fall are as follows. Cheerleading, coached by Carla Foltz. Cross country, our boys team is coached by Tim Starkey and our girls team by Jim Langendorfer. Football, coached by Tom Phillips. Golf, our boys coach is Steve Schill. Our girls coach is Kitty McGreevy. Soccer, our boys coach is Darren Monholland and our girls coach is Greg Van Cannel. Girls tennis is coached by Brian Hoff and girls volleyball is coached by April Boudreau. In the winter, we offer basketball. Our boys coach is Jason Bates. Girls coach is Dave Butcher. Cheerleading is coached by Carla Foltz. We have swimming at the high school only. Wrestling is coached by Jake Keener. And we also offer bowling as a high school club sport in the winter. In the spring, we have baseball coached by Tim Thomas. Softball coached by Sarah Looker. Boys tennis coached by Brian Hoff. Track, our boys coach is Dave Spring and our girls coach is Jim Langendorfer. Boys volleyball is coached by Marcy Truex. And lacrosse, our boys coach is Danny Gibson and our girls coach is Norm Dina. Let's go over some of the OHSAA requirements. Students must live in the Pickerington local school district boundaries. Students also must have passed 5 one-credit classes in the preceding grading period. When counting classes and credits, please don't count phys ed. Phys ed does not count toward the credits that a student needs to pass in order to be eligible. Students shouldn't drop a class or change their schedule without talking to an administrator. Parents of the student must live in Ohio. If a student changes schools after establishing eligibility in the 9th grade, the student is ineligible for a year. Students establish eligibility by going to school or participating in a scrimmage or game prior to the start of school. If your student attended another high school besides Pickerington North, please see Ms. Fiesler. Continuing with the OHSAA requirements, students are entitled to 8 semesters of participation once they begin the 9th grade. Once students attain the age of 20, they are no longer eligible for high school athletics. And during the same sports season, students may not participate on a non-school team in the same sport in which they are participating on the school team. In other words, let's go over an example. If a student wanted to play club basketball, they could do that provided it wasn't during the school basketball season. They could play on a church squad, a travel squad, etc., as long as it was not during the same season as the high school season. If you'd like to see a short video on OHSAA, their rules, expectations, and standards, go to YouTube and search OHSAA preseason meeting. Pickerington Schools athletic handbooks are available on this part of your registration after you view the video. They're also available on our school website, www.pickerington.k12.oh.us. By now, you have probably already figured out the website in registering your athlete. we're asking all parents to complete the forms online for their student athlete prior to the first day of tryouts. Every student athlete must have a physical turned in and be registered online prior to trying out for a sport. A reminder to parents that physicals are good for 1 calendar year. And the registration link is on the screen right now. You've obviously found it because you're watching this video. You could also find it on our website, pickeringtonpanthers.org. The scholastic eligibility requirements for high school are as follows. For the Pickerington Local School District, you have to have a minimum GPA of 1.75. That's a grading period GPA, not an overall GPA. At interim check, students must be passing 5 one-credit courses. Again, don't count physical education as a credit. At the end of the grading period, students also must be passing 5 one-credit courses. Again, don't count physical education. A reminder to parents that if students are enrolled in College Credit Plus or a Career Center, it is the responsibility of the student to get grades from those courses and turn them into the athletic office following the Pickerington North end of grading period and interim time dates. Those don't always line up with College Credit Plus and Career Center. So those grades, it's the responsibility of the student to turn those grades into the athletic office. If you need the dates for those, you can contact the athletic office or your coach or look online on the Pickerington Local School District website. Participation fees this year are $275 per athlete per sport. Payments can be made in 2 payments or they can be paid all at one time. The district has established deadlines for the first half and the final payment of fees. They are as follows. For fall sports, the first half of the participation fee is due August 12th, with the final payment due by September 16th. For the winter, the first half is due by November 18th and final payment by January 13th. And for spring, first half March 17th, final payment April 12th. Applications for reduction of extracurricular fees are available in the athletic office, at the district office, or on the school district website. Fees can be paid on the district through Infinite Campus. Here are some frequently asked questions about fees. Where do my fees go? Well, parents, your fees are collected by the school. The money goes to the district office and it helps cover transportation costs along with part of the salaries for our coaching staff. What if my student finds that a sport just isn't for them? Well, students who drop out of a sport before the first scrimmage or contest will not be assessed a fee. What if my student becomes ineligible or quits? If a student quits, becomes ineligible, or is removed from the team, the full fee is still owed. What if my student becomes injured? Do we still owe the full fee? Students who become injured may have their fee reduced with proper medical documentation. Reductions could be up to 50%. Can my student join another sport if they still owe fees? No. Students cannot start a new sport until fees from the previous seasons are all paid. Now a few words about sports medicine. You already met our head trainer, John Freeman. He's assisted by Shelley Butch. The athletic training room hours at Pickerington North are from about 1:50 until the end of the sporting events for the day. That will change to 2:50 next year with our change in schedule. Our team physician is Dr. Siegel. He works at Max Sports Medicine on Hill Road. John and Shelley can usually get appointments with Dr. Siegel within 24 to 48 hours. Dr. Siegel comes to the school once per week and students can work through Shelley or John to see Dr. Siegel for follow-ups should they have an injury. All injuries should be reported to John or Shelley as well as the coach. And a reminder that if your student sees a doctor regarding an injury, we have to get a note from that doctor saying what your student is to do to participate again. The doctor may say no participation for a week. We need that in writing. The doctor may say participation begins tomorrow. We need that in writing. If your student goes to see a doctor about an injury, please get something in writing so that we know when they can return to play. Now a word about concussions. Concussions, the signs of them are headache, dizziness, lightheadedness, nausea, blurry vision, confusion, disorientation. These symptoms are not to be taken lightly. If our coaches, an official, or our trainer thinks that your student may have a concussion, they'll be removed from participation immediately. They cannot return to play at any time during that same day. Anyone who's removed from participation must go through a 5-step return to play exertion. This is for their safety. We do impact testing with our students for incoming freshmen or any high school student participating in sports that didn't do the test last year. This allows us to assess where a student is and hopefully gets them back in the game a little bit sooner than if we didn't have that test score from their impact test. The Pickerington Code of Conduct for our student athletes is a 12-month rule. Any conduct that results in dishonor to the athlete, the team, or the school will not be tolerated. Rules are in effect 12 months a year, 24 hours a day, up until graduation. The penalty for students who violate the Code of Conduct could range from a 10% reduction of participation all the way to permanent suspension. We also have training rules and regulations with regards to alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs. They are also a 12-month rule. Upon a first violation, a student will be subject to a 50% reduction in participation. That could be reduced to a 20% reduction in participation with approved counseling. Upon a second violation, student athletes will be suspended for 1 year. This may be reduced to 50% with approved counseling. Should a student be involved in a third violation, they will be suspended for the remainder of their career. That could be reduced to a year upon appeal and a substantiated rehabilitation program. A reminder that tobacco and e-cigarette cigarette violations are cut in half from the above standards, while hosting, sale, or distribution automatically jumps up a level in the violation. In other words, for example, a first-time violator that's hosting a party automatically moves up 1 level and becomes a second violation. Pickerington also has an anti-hazing policy. Hazing is prohibited at all times, both on and off school property. Hazing is defined as any action taken or situation created by a student or group of students relating to the status or membership in a group that causes or is likely to cause bodily danger, physical harm, emotional harm, extreme embarrassment or ridicule, personal degradation, or loss of dignity. Our attendance policies are as follows. Students who are absent from school and determined to be excused by the attendance office may participate in practices and contests. Students who are absent from school and are determined to be unexcused may not participate in practices or contests. At Pickerington North, we have random drug testing. Students will be given notification during the school day. There's no excuse for a student not to show up. Students should bring a picture ID with them, either a school ID or driver's license. We ask the students to take a picture of it and have it on their phone. That way they have it with them at all times. The tests are during the school day, and the company we use for drug testing gets a list of all of our athletes for that season, and they generate the random selection from the pool of athletes. Students will remain in that pool of athletes of potential students to be tested all the way up until the point the varsity team completes their season. This means if your student athlete is on the lower level team and their season may be complete, but the varsity team is still going, they still may be called for drug testing, and we would expect them to show up. There are inherent risks in athletics. By playing a sport, a student is exposing himself or herself to the risk of serious injury, including but not limited to the risk of sprains, fractures, and ligament and/or cartilage damage, which could result in a temporary or permanent, partial or complete impairment in the use of limbs. Could also result in brain damage, paralysis, or even death. We hope that none of these things happen. Try to take every precaution we can to make sure your student athlete is safe. Please understand that there are risks by participating in athletics, and by your student's participation, he or she is exposing himself or herself to. Pickerington Local School District does not provide accident or health insurance for athletes that participate in interscholastic athletics. It is the responsibility and a requirement of the parents to maintain an active accident and health policy while their child is participating in athletics. The school district offers a supplemental accident insurance policy to all students. There's information in any school office. There is an additional fee to be paid by the parents should you want to enroll your child in this program. Good sporting behavior is expected of all of our coaches, student athletes, fans, and parents. Good sporting behavior is expected to be practiced toward each other, toward opponents, their fans, contest officials, and coaches. Student athletes are rejected by an official will be ineligible for 2 contests, only 1 in football. Officials' decisions are final. Remember, officials are people too, and they make mistakes from time to time. And a reminder that by paying admission and/or traveling to a contest, fans don't have a right to criticize officials and/or coaches. Be supportive of your student athlete and our teams. That will help way better than criticizing officials and coaches. We have a very supportive and active booster club for Pickerington North Athletics, along with support clubs for each of our sports. Our Pickerington North Athletic Booster Club president is Felicia Hentz. You can contact her if you need more information or want to get involved in the booster club, or contact your coach if you'd like to get involved in your individual sport booster club. Social networking and communication is something you should really talk to your student about. If you don't recognize any of the symbols on the screen right now, you may want to ask your student to explain them and take a look at them on their phone or iPad or computer to see what it's all about. We ask our students, obviously, to communicate a lot with our coaches, but we ask them not to friend them on Facebook when it's a personal Facebook page. Students should also only communicate things that would be appropriate for you as parents, their teachers, their coaches, or me to see. And warn students, and we ask you to talk to them, that they should be cautious about what they post, because things don't go away. If someone gets a screenshot of that, it's not going to go away. Students should only post pictures or other things that would be appropriate, again, for all of those people to see: parents, teachers, coaches, or Ms. Fiesler. We encourage your student to follow this. Pause before you post. Once something's typed in there, think about it and think, is really something that's okay for all of these people to see? Or is this distasteful or hurtful to someone else, and maybe I shouldn't post it, I should remove it? Talk to your student, please, about this. It's a very important age for the students to learn proper behavior with social networking. We have great facilities at Pickerington North. We want athletes to be supervised by one of our coaches when they're using our facilities. Now, this doesn't go for all of our facilities. For instance, our tennis courts are open to the public all the time. Those don't need the supervision of a coach. Locked facilities that are secured, those are the ones that need supervision of a coach. Things such as the field house, the stadium, gymnasium, weight rooms, baseball facilities, softball facilities. Those should be supervised by a coach, and students should not be in those facilities unsupervised at any time. We ask that students don't wear cleats inside the building. This is for their safety and to protect our floors at North. In the locker rooms, please talk to your students about locking up their possessions. They shouldn't leave anything on the bench or floor. And Pickerington North is not responsible for lost or stolen items. So please make sure your student is securing everything in the. We wish you good luck this year with your student, with your school sport that they're involved in. If you have any questions related to the information in this presentation, please see me, Ms. Fiesler, Assistant Athletic Director, Mr. Good, your principal, your coach, or call the athletic office. If you want updates on Pickerington North Athletics, follow us on Twitter at PN Athletics. Thanks for your attention. We're looking forward to a great year.